Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. It is June 3rd, 2019. And yes folks, I do realize a lot of you have had internet service outages, problems with YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I've been receiving a lot of inbox messages and emails. It all started yesterday, but in actuality, a few days ago, going back to, I believe, the 30th and the 31st, we started to see these outages, and I always keep track of all of this. But what's happening right now is we are in a steady stream of this solar wind, and this will affect all of these satellites that are orbiting our planet, and there are literally now tens of thousands of them. And, I started keeping track of this the other day whenever I got word that some of this was happening. And I know people immediately start to go into the conspiracy mode that, oh, the government is shutting the internet down. But that's really not the case. I'm going to go ahead and just give you a second here. I'm going to pull up the live chat real quick. And, I've been kind of busy the entire weekend, but I've been keeping track of everything that is going on. Let me just go ahead and pull this up. Set that back down there so I can see all of you. And I've had some internet problems here myself. I am in the Pittsburgh area. As you can see down in the corner of the thumbnail, a lot of the East Coast was hampered by these internet outages. I was having problems with YouTube. I believe early afternoon. I was actually going to prepare a live stream and talk about what's happening on the sun, what we're going to be looking at over the next 7 to 10 days, and I was going to talk about these outages. And unfortunately, just as I was preparing the live stream, bingo, that's it. YouTube went down. Now, one thing that you have to know, folks, whenever you see this type of situation, it's not that Facebook or Twitter or YouTube is broken. I would say the majority of the time, they will shut things down in order to prevent very, very serious damage to their servers and their equipment. We also see this on all of the space satellites and space telescopes that we use to monitor the sun. Cellular service is the same way. They are not going to damage their equipment, their satellites in space, so they will put them on what we refer to as safe mode. And whenever they do that, well, the internet transmissions, cellular transmissions are very, very limited. They do know which areas are going to be hit, and those will be the areas that get shut down. As you can see on that map in the corner of your screen, the left corner, the east coast of the United States, a lot of major cities. So also, this wasn't too widespread around the world. This just basically hit the United States and also London and Sydney, Australia. So, folks, we're going to have to actually get used to this. This is going to become a very, very common occurrence. We will also see issues with GPS service. And if you rely on GPS for your job, such as a driver or something of that nature, well, yeah, you will be hampered by these outages quite frequently. As time goes on and we move further and further into this solar minimum, the effects from the sun on the earth are going to intensify. There's just no doubt about it. This will also relate to our weather. And we've all seen the huge tragedies here in the United States now dealing with all of this flooding. The Arkansas River has just burst through its banks. I was looking at some data the other day, and I was looking at some photographs. I was blown away. The water level was just below street signs. You know, those street signs are normally about 8 feet high. And then I heard a news report that some of the water levels on the Arkansas River during the flooding reached 6 feet. So they're basically encapsulating houses all the way up to the roof level, and some people were really, really unfortunate. Their houses were completely covered, just completely. So I did mention all of this back at the end of the winter. I did say that we are going to have very, very big problems in the Mississippi Valley area all along the Mississippi as the snow melt came and the torrential rains. All of these rivers, they flow into the Mississippi. The three rivers up here in the Pittsburgh area, the Monongahela, the Allegheny, they flow into the Ohio River. The Ohio River flows downward into the Mississippi. So a lot of these tributaries all flow into that major river. What I'm very, very worried about is, what's going to happen in the next 10 days. Because I was looking at some of the weather radars and maps for this upcoming 7 to 10 days, getting a broader outlook. And it doesn't look good, folks. It's more of this same continual pattern. Things may slow down with the tornadoes, but we're still going to have constant rain. And this rain is going to be a big, big problem. There are so many rivers and tributaries right now that are flooded or near flood stage, and some of them are not going to go down for 7 to 10 days. Some of them even more than that. So depending on how much more rain we get in this central part of the United States moving towards the east, it's something that we're going to have to wait and see. But the outlook that I've been examining for the last couple of days just doesn't look good. Doesn't look good at all. So we'll have to see how things pan out. And if you live in any of these regions where this flooding is going to occur, I would definitely heed these warnings. These water levels are coming up very, very fast. Levees are being breached. It's a major, major problem. And we're also going to have problems, folks, with, well, I don't want to say food shortages. Well, maybe that might be the word to use. Because the planting season for all of these areas, well, that's kind of past. So we may be relying on food sources coming from other countries, like Mexico and South America. So that will be something that we will have to see. We might just see increases in products, like milk, and definitely corn products, wheat products, soy products, cattle, pork, chicken. All of these areas have been absolutely devastated. And I really don't see any daylight at the end of that tunnel. It's sad to say. You try to warn people months in advance, and I don't know what it is, folks. I guess sometimes people don't take you seriously. They don't take your education or your knowledge in the subject matter seriously. And then there's the other factor that people think, well, this isn't going to happen to me. And then you wake up one morning and guess what? It happened to you. So it's sad to say. And it's something that we're going to be dealing with for a very, very long time. You know, I've been preparing things just about every day here around my property. I've been working on, my own evacuation plan if something were to occur here in my area. And just the other day we had a pretty bad storm, and I was watching a few of these clouds, and wow, just about a mile away from me, this downpour came. It wasn't over top of me. It was about a mile away, and I could literally see the loads of rain just pouring down over one area. And then it did make its way over to my area, and it kind of obliterated my neighborhood. There were down tree limbs everywhere, leaves everywhere. People's garbage cans were flying all over the place. And again, cleanup process. I was out there with a, chainsaw cutting down a few branches on a tree behind my house that kind of overhangs the back part of my house. So I got all that taken care of and got things cleaned up and helped out a few neighbors that were, kind of elderly. They couldn't get to some of these bigger tree limbs that were falling in their yards. So these widow makers, that's what we call them, these large tree branches, boy, they can end your life real quick. I told all of you the other day how I was traveling down a road, and the next thing you know, if I would have been 30 seconds sooner going down that road, a massive tree branch just cracked off and fell directly across the road. It was about 12 to 15 feet long, probably about that size in diameter, and pretty dense. It was a locust tree. They're the ones that have those big thorns on them. So, once we got that out of the roadway, we continued down. Quarter mile down the road, again, boom, another big gigantic tree branch down. So these are some of the things that we're going to be seeing quite frequently. They will become pretty much an everyday part of life. If you take all of this for granted and you really don't pay attention to it, you may end up, being a victim of what is going to occur. So I would definitely say, keep your eyes and your ears wide open. Listen to the information that's out there. Make sure that you are listening to credible sources. Because again, folks, I'll use the terminology. You have a lot of fake news out there, a lot of YouTube channels that, I don't know where they get their information or their education, or they just go by more fake news that they find on the internet and then they turn it into a video. I really don't think a lot of people do serious homework on subjects. Now, people like BP Earthwatch and Mr. MBB333, those guys, they do their homework and they're educated and they've been doing this for a very long time, just like me. And before I come on here to YouTube and start flapping my gums, I get the cold hard facts. I dig right down to the evidence and where it's coming from. But I'm going to get into a few things and I'm going to show you what I found, since I got my internet service back here over the last couple of hours. So we're going to go ahead and jump out of this. I'm going to go ahead and shrink my face down a little bit here. And I prepared a video, just a video clip of what's going on. And this is the internet outage map right now. And you can see good portion, Toronto, Montreal, Washington, D.C., Newark. There were parts of my area in the Pittsburgh area yesterday and earlier on the 2nd of June. There was some outages in Birmingham, but mainly in London, England. And these did last for quite some time. This actually began several days ago. There were some outages in Sydney, Australia, but for the main part, the majority of these outages were in the United States and in Canada. What you're looking at right now is a very, very current view of our sun. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop that right here, because for the last couple of days, we've been looking at a coronal hole stream that's been coming towards the Earth. But here's the thing, folks, and this is what I've been saying. This coronal hole stream really wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. However, because our magnetosphere is getting weaker and weaker, and it's going to get much, much weaker as the months and the years go by. Remember, this solar minimum lasts for 11 years. And then here's something else. After that solar minimum, we're going to be going into a solar maximum. And that's a whole nother ball game right there. I'll be preparing some information over the next couple of days, and we're going to talk about this upcoming solar maximum that will be after this solar minimum. So that's quite some time away, but it may be brutal. It probably will be. But what you're looking at right now is a coronal hole stream that's been spewing its heavily charged particles flowing straight towards the Earth. They've been very, very slow in speed, 300, 400 kilometers per hour. But again, it all penetrates right through, and it does create these issues with these satellites. Now, what you're going to see a prime example of on this SDO footage, you're going to see a skip in the video. Now, I recorded portions from Helio Viewer that are in high definition, and that is showing you this this heavy region of activity that's coming back towards us. And you'll see that skip there. That skip is about 12 hours, and that is probably the SDO. Man, my nose is itching like crazy. Somebody must be talking about me. My God. Anyways, this 12-hour shutdown on the SDO is just that. They will put the SDO, the stereo, SOHO instruments, they'll put them in safe mode so they are not destroyed or damaged. So this coronal hole region right here is what I'm referring to. This is the very, very active region that's coming around. So I'll go ahead and let this play. Take a sip of my coffee. But yeah, we've been going through this for the last couple of days, and I knew it was just going to be a matter of time, you know. Believe me, these internet outages, cellular outages, they could be much, much worse. We may see even more of this as you see this very, very active region moving back Earth facing over the next couple of days. So between the next 5 and 7 days, I'm going to be watching this region very, very closely. You may see updates coming from me at least once a day on what I'm seeing and what I'm finding. Because, folks, these are very, very volatile areas right now. They may just kind of fizzle out. I don't know. But we will see. They've been creating a tremendous amount of activity on the backside of the sun. We have not seen any coronal mass ejections, but we've seen some heavy flaring, and really massive plasma loops. So we're going to see. We'll see what happens. But again, this is just a replay. I have this video in loop, and you could see all of the major cities: Seattle, San Francisco, LA, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, Toronto, Chicago, Central Ohio. I mean, people were all over Facebook today freaking out because they couldn't, get onto Facebook, and then people couldn't get onto YouTube. People were having problems with Twitter. Certain cell phone companies, they were having issues. And I was getting inbox messages to the tune of about 50 an hour. And I don't even know how many email messages. So for all of you folks that sent me email messages asking me about this particular subject matter, I sure as hell hope you're watching this video, because I can't go back and answer all of those emails. Speaking of emails, our new email notification program is going pretty good. There's still a tremendous amount of people out there that have not confirmed their subscription. And folks, let me recommend something for all of you. You have a Gmail account because you're here on YouTube and you're able to comment on YouTube. I recommend using your Gmail account to sign up for our email notifications. That's the best advice I could give all of you for some of the folks that were having some issues with other email services like America Online, possibly Comcast.net, maybe even Yahoo. I don't know how you guys have your emails set up. I would use your Gmail account. Check it once a day. I'm only sending out one email a day referencing some articles that I've written up for the Planet X News website. Some interesting information. There's been some really cool UFO intel that has come out from very, very credible sources, and definitely some good reads. There's an article out there that I just uploaded today that talks briefly about this possibility of food shortages and prices going up. So all of that we need to pay very, very close attention to. I haven't seen anything Planet X related. We haven't had any opportunities for new visualization. We'll see how things go. We are only in the beginning of the month. There's a high possibility as we get into the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th of the month, because those first several days of every month, it's very rare that we get a sighting. But once we get past the 7th of the month, the opportunity for that sighting increases. So this all goes into this 28-day orbit that I've been working on for the last couple of years. And Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel, he did an awesome video the other day. And we've been discussing this 28-day orbit. I've been discussing it with him for quite some time. And I told him, don't just take my word for it. Go back, do your own homework, see what you find. If you have any questions, hit me up with them. I'll help you out. And sure enough, he did just that. And his latest video was fantastic. He went back through a couple of years and months. And sure enough, he was seeing that 28-day pattern. It was close to 29, 28, 27, all within that date range. So his video was fantastic. And if you guys haven't watched it, it's the latest video on his YouTube channel. You should definitely check it out. I did include his video in yesterday's Planet X News email brief that went out. So, very, very interesting. But let me show you some of the things that I found. I'm going to get out of this video here real quick. And I'll go over some of these things here real quick, folks. We're not going to have a real long live stream because some of you said that that I take too long getting to the point. Well, you know, whenever you're in a teaching phase and there's a lot of information to put out, if you're looking for a 5, 6, 7 minute video, then watch some other YouTube channel. If you want a complete explanation and you want to learn, then you'll stick around here and you won't complain. Simple as that. But this is going back to June 1st right here. And this is the bow shock, the magnetopause. Usually, folks, if you watch my cursor, this bow shock will be out here pretty close to this number 15. Whenever you see it below or in between the 10 and 15, that means it's being compressed. And I'll go ahead and play this for you. We're going to look at the last 48 hours, and you're going to see how some of this energy came in. You're also going to see the magnetopause expand outward. So let's just go ahead and check this out. And right here, you're at a normal stage of about where the 15 is. You can see the bow shock passing it now. And then it actually starts to expand. But then you could see that was pretty abrupt. And after that, it starts to shrink back. It starts to compress. When we see those compressions like that, that's a telltale sign of this energy from the sun coming in and impacting it. We're going to move to the second. I'll go ahead and play the animation. And again, you know, you can see here on the second, yesterday, you can see this compression. It stayed pretty steady. But I'm going to show you some more quick data, and then everything will make sense to all of you. And you'll see why we had these outages. And whenever we talk about these coronal mass ejections and solar flares impacting the Earth, why they're so important, I mean, we go back to, oh, we don't have any data for that. Yes, we do. Okay. We go back to the Carrington event back in the late 1800s. That Carrington event fried telegraph wires. I mean, it was pretty damaging to the United States infrastructure. They had smoking telegraph wires. I mean, this went on for days. And there was a lot of earthquake activity surrounding that Carrington event back then. In today's world, where our technology is so much greater, the impacts are much greater and could have bigger consequences. There's no doubt about that. Especially when we rely on nothing but electronics and computers. We're going to take a look at the radiation belt, and this is going back to the 31st. The dotted line that you see right here, that represents the satellite belt. As you could already see on the 31st, there's quite a bit of energy. The electrons are really, really flying around, and this will cause issues with those satellites. So we'll go ahead and watch it come in. This is June 1st. And let me move this over here. And you'll see this is you'll see some compressions here, some anomalies on this model, and then things kind of lightened up towards the end of June 1st. And then we get into June 2nd. More solar wind coming in, more of these particles coming in, and things tend to get charged up. And sure enough, but it wasn't that bad. That's my point. This really wasn't that bad of a solar wind, but it definitely caused more disturbances. And we felt them. The satellites felt them. And what I mean by we felt them, well, everybody complaining they couldn't get onto YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, internet problems, cellular problems, GPS problems. That's what I mean by affecting us. So we'll jump out of here. You'll see on the this magnetopause model. Let me just stretch this out just a little bit. Again, this is going back. Yeah, this is going back into June 2nd. And you'll see, actually, to tell you the truth, let me go ahead and bring up the new one here. And we'll reset this. I'm just going to go ahead and reset this model because it already updated itself. Now, there really wasn't much to see on the magnetopause model other than, you know, some fluctuations coming in, and then you see some compression of the magnetopause. And again, all of this, folks, the dates, the times, all of this is in sync with these outages. So, you know, I mean, I had a few people sending me links to videos that people were putting up on YouTube in the conspiracy mode of the government's shutting the internet down. No, that's not the case. These satellites are sophisticated. They do have a safe mode. They will go into a safe mode to protect themselves. And these satellites can be controlled from ground level. And, you know, these companies know better. They're not going to destroy their whole infrastructure, so they will put these things in safe mode. There's no doubt. But again, there wasn't very much to see as far as the energy coming in. It was kind of mild, but again, like I said, that just goes to show you that even mild influxes of this solar energy are going to play a role in our life here on Mother Earth. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this because I did see, I'm going to get to it 1 second. Let me just use this slider to move down here. Oh, there it was right there. Now I'm going to go step by step on this, and if you pay attention to this area right here, this is on the June 2nd. You could see the timeline right up here, and you could see this this darker orange wave coming in. I was looking at the NOAA magnetopause models, and I actually saw wave after wave after wave after wave. They were coming in about every 30 minutes. This was in the beginning of June 2nd. And just wave after wave after wave after wave came in. On this model, you could actually see one right here. And you could see right there. You see how it expanded? And we'll jump a couple more screens, and then bingo, we go right back to normal. So again, that's kind of odd, but that just shows you the energy coming from the sun. We're going to be getting this constantly. This is going to be nonstop, everyday part of our lives, and then you're going to see it change again. And you're going to see wave after wave after wave come in. And this was going through the latter part of yesterday, June 2nd, because we're already in the June 3rd. Like I said, folks, I would have had an earlier live stream, but I was having internet issues. Midday, YouTube was down. I couldn't get back on the YouTube for hours. But there you go. You could see that darker orange. And just wave after wave coming in. We'll jump out of there. We'll take a look at the solar wind. You could see a little bit of that also on the solar wind. And you'll see some of the intensity here, but pay close attention to this area right here around the Earth. And that is pretty close to the satellite belt. And you can see the amount of energy that is around that satellite belt, like right there. Look at that right there. And you can see the little marks, the little symbols that they have for those satellites. They're very, very small. Let me see, I could actually bring them up a little closer. So you can see one here, one there. There's another one there. And you can see this area right here, this satellite belt, let's just use the word inflamed. It stays pretty heavily inflamed for quite some time, pretty much throughout the entire day for the second. I'll let this go ahead and play out, but you could watch that area, and then you saw that wave come in, and it literally flexed the magnetopause, and it's at points like that. Now you can see the electrons are actually starting to dissipate, and things are going back to normal. And that's where we're at right now on the 3rd. But you're going to start to see another wave come in, and it's probably going to start coming in overnight. So, you know, we may have more of these outages. I would assume that in the very near future, you could expect them on a daily basis. And again, you know, folks, it's just going to be something that we have to live with. There is so much going on right now in and around our planet, in and around our inner solar system. So many things going on with our planet in general. And it's very sad to say that, you know, the governments around the world, our government here in the United States, they just don't say anything. They really don't. They just don't say anything at all. And that's one of the biggest things that I hate. You know, we have TV programs, we have news broadcasts 24 hours a day. We have a weather channel. You know, we have the weather channel, we have AccuWeather. But what about space weather? Space weather is now going to affect us in a bigger way, more now than ever. But nobody gives us space weather update on mainstream media. And I think if they would actually start to do that, it would bring people's education level a lot higher and understanding what's actually happening out there. You know, there's a lot of people right now that are claiming that they're getting sunburned. This started happening back in the beginning part of May. And people getting blistered. I mean blistered. Early in the month of May. The sun is not even that strong in the month of May. The earth is still actually going through its tilt into the seasons. So therefore that direct sunlight should not be burning you. But what you are being burned by is the radiation. When you go outside and you get burned within 15 to 30 minutes and it blisters, listen, folks, I don't care what anybody else is telling you. You got burned because of the higher levels of radiation coming in and coming from the sun and all of these heavily charged particles. I just saw a photograph of a 2-year-old baby whose mother used a mild sunscreen on the child's face and body and then took the child out for a pretty long period of time. Don't rely on these sunscreens like they are going to protect your life, because in this young toddler's case, that sunscreen did nothing. And that child's face is destroyed. Huge, very deep blisters all along his little cheeks and forehead and his whole face. He will probably be scarred for life. And that is due to a parent that just doesn't know any better. You know, we all think that these products are actually going to protect us. But, you know, folks, times are changing. Times are changing, and a lot of these products are not going to protect us. Stay out of the sun. I know it's summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. People have cabin fever. They've been cooped up all winter. They want to get out. They want to go boating and hiking, and they want to do, go to the beach and do all this fun stuff. Hey, try to limit your time. Try to cover up a little bit. I know it's very, very hard, and it doesn't sound normal. But if you want to take those chances, go ahead. But you may end up regretting it in the long run. As far as your children go, don't subject your kids to this kind of stuff. This is pretty bad, And things are actually going to get worse. And after seeing that picture of that little boy, I be very honest. It kind of, that broke my heart to see that little boy's face. He'll probably be scarred for life. Yeah. Let me jump over here a couple little screenshots there. I was taking some quick photos the other day, and we could see this area, man. This area, this is where those sunspots were. The sunspots have not come back. They've not regenerated. But there is a lot of energy and a lot of activity all in this region right here, and it's coming around. And within the next couple of days, it will be right here on our back door. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Oh, also, Mount Etna blew its top the other day on the 30th. Now, there was I had a video up on our Planet X News Facebook page and also our private network. All of that information's up there. And I just want to jump back to this quick video here. And I just recorded all of this from the Helio viewer, but this gives you an ultra high definition 4K view of this activity, and you could see all of these plasma loops right there. There are ones that are extending very, very far out. They're not actually making a reconnection, but you could start to see down here the smaller ones that are making a disconnect, reconnect. You could see them all here. So there's a lot going on in this region, and it is just about at the sun's equator. There is a little bit of it that is below the sun's equator, right where we are aligned with the sun. So again, folks, this next 5 to 7 days is going to be on watch. There's really nothing that we can do about it. If a large solar flare bursts from the sun, a large coronal mass ejection, literally, there's nothing that we can do. But again, knowing about it, preparing for it, knowing that it's coming, that's a good idea. And, we're now moving into hurricane season. So we'll see what transpires out there in the Atlantic, in the Caribbean, and also the Gulf of Mexico. Let's hope and pray that we don't have any major hurricanes, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to see a lot of activity in the Gulf of Mexico. And if that's the case, well, anywhere these hurricanes form in the Gulf of Mexico, they're going to hit land. So we'll see what happens. I was watching a short video clip that was on the Weather Channel. They were interviewing some folks that went through Hurricane Maria, Hurricane Michael last year. They are still rebuilding. There are still huge problems left over from those very destructive hurricanes. So we'll see what happens. I'd like to say hopefully nothing happens, but that's not reality, folks. It's not reality at all. But this is going to be an interesting week coming up. There's definitely going to be some widespread weather throughout the central part of the United States, leading all the way over to the East Coast. And before I go ahead and end this live stream, I'll show you guys what I mean. Let me go ahead and just jump out of here, and we'll jump over to the windy map. And this is where we're currently at right now. And this is in live time. I'm going to move this slider on the bottom as we go through the next couple of days. But I want you to just see what is going to be coming. There's a very, very large storm cell right over northern Texas into southwestern Oklahoma. That's a pretty heavy cell right there. But I want you to just watch how things start to elevate. And, oops, let's go back one tick. Like, for instance, right here. Now, this is Monday afternoon between 3 and 4 p.m. So you can see as things started to, things start to heat up in the midday. Well, take a look at that. So now areas like, for instance, Colorado and other parts of the Midwest are going to start to get hammered. So this is all going to be, moving eastward, and that's just Monday between 3 and 4 p.m. So I'll let this go. We'll move, and this is around 9 p.m. So things don't let off up here in Kansas, right dead center in the middle. Oh my, just look at that. I mean, these are very, very intense storms. And again, this is just Monday. So we move into Tuesday in the morning, and you can see these are some pretty hefty cells cutting across Iowa and Missouri, heading into Illinois. We'll just move forward just a little bit. And you can see, here's another. This is Tuesday, the 4th, 8 p.m. That's at nighttime. So you can see, we're not out of the woods yet for all of this wacky, crazy, chaotic weather in the Midwest. It's going to continue to erupt. The way that the jet stream pattern is, it's kind of locked in. It's pushing down on this area right here. And there is a high pressure down here, and all of this moisture is streaming up. Those two systems, they're bumping up right there. I mean, you could literally see where they're colliding and that's where we're getting this very, very intense weather. And then the jet stream will literally pull it across the United States. Now, in some of these instances, these storm systems will get shredded and pulled apart, lessening the effect heading over to the East Coast. But it's not always going to be that way. We'll go ahead and let this chime out, and I'll just let this play out. And you can see these are some pretty heavy-duty storm cells that are moving through. Going into Wednesday, once again, you see very, very intense downpours through all of these states. Now it's getting into the south, into Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. And that's just midweek, folks. Look at this. This is 5 p.m. on Wednesday, just a couple of days away. I mean, that is a huge swath of rain, thunder, lightning, and conditions that are conducive to these tornadoes. We're seeing more of the tornadic activity in the much, much later part of the day and overnight when people are sleeping, which is the most dangerous damn time for this to be happening. But it happens. So as you can see, we're into Thursday here. And this is a pretty damn good predictor model. They were even talking about this. Oh boy, yeah. I mean, we're going to be in for a hell of a week. There's no doubt. But they were actually talking about this. I was listening to a few forecasters over the weekend. And things will calm down as we get to the latter part of the week. But, bingo, we have a small lull between Wednesday night and Thursday, and then Friday, boom, we have this huge flare-up right here. And this is an area, and a few of these states up here, they haven't been seeing much as far as crazy weather. Well, now they're going to get their taste of it. And I wanted to give a big shout out to everybody up there in Alberta, Canada. Folks, they've been under these intense wildfires for the last week or so. Very intense wildfires. They've had no moisture up there. They've had no rain. And these wildfires up there are getting extremely out of control. A lot of that smoke is being caught up in some of the jet stream and pulled down over some of those north central states like Wyoming, Montana, and the Dakotas. I actually put an article up on planetxnews.org the other day showing some of this, and it's pretty intense. But we'll move into the latter part of the week. And, maybe it doesn't look like it. I was hoping that some of that moisture would get up into Canada, but it just doesn't look like it's going to make it. And their situation in Alberta may intensify through that whole entire region of Canada. So, it's definitely going to be a week to watch. We're going to have a lot of space weather coming in the whole entire week, 7 to 10 days. And as you could see, as far as our regular weather, well, that's not letting up either. And on top of all of this, we're in the beginning of hurricane season. Yeah. And again, folks, as far as some of these outages are concerned, hey, get used to it, man. Get used to it. It is going to become a real everyday part of life. We'll get through it. Keep your chins up. Keep searching for the truth. Keep educating yourself with the right information. And, spread that information. Wake people up. Inform people about what is happening. I saw a few of my friends on Facebook complaining about not having, internet service, not being able to get on Facebook. Oh man, I couldn't send you a Snapchat. Grown-ass people worried about Snapchat. But get used to it. This is going to be part of our life. And this whole entire week coming up, folks, you will hear from me. We're going to be watching this system come across the sun, and we'll see what transpires. It doesn't look good. It looks pretty damn active, and I'm kind of interested to see the interaction between that activity zone and the Earth. So we'll see what happens. And again, folks, if any of you have not signed up for our email notifications, the link is in the description box underneath our videos. Click on that link and put your information in there, and then you will get a confirmation email to confirm your subscription. It's basically like the law. And you might have to look in your spam folder or your junk folder. And again, don't use other email services, folks. You all have a Gmail account, because if you're watching these videos and you're commenting, you have a Gmail account. The Gmail works perfect. It even has virus protection in it. Use your Gmail account when you're signing up for our email notifications. That way, you guys don't have any problems with receiving the confirmation email. Because right now, there are still about 300 or 400 people that signed up over the last couple of days, but they have not confirmed their subscription. So if you don't confirm your subscription to our email notifications, guess what? You're not going to get the notifications. So if you used Yahoo or Outlook or AOL or whatever other email service, check your junk folders, check your spam folders, go through those emails, and when you pull up that confirmation email, there's a blue button that says, click here to confirm your subscription. Because I've had a few people say, oh, I got the confirmation email, but I didn't click on the blue button. Oh my God. Yeah, I realize that not everybody is like super technically advanced, but it does say, click here, confirm, push that button. And but use your Gmail, folks. Use your Gmail. I'll be sending out a daily blast. Like I said, at least once a day. It will be in relation to videos that have gone up, live streams that have gone up, and also articles that are going up on the Planet X News website. For all of you that really want to stay informed, click on the link for our private network. That private network, I share a hell of a lot more information on there than I do anywhere. 99.9% of the information I share on our private network, I don't bother sharing on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, because I'm tired of getting the community guideline strikes. They're going to end up terminating my YouTube channel. But, we all know how that goes. YouTube gets a bug up their ass and they start slashing channels. Facebook is doing the same thing. They're already going back to their full-scale censorship for whatever reason. So I'm tired of dealing with it. We do have some new tools here at Planet X News. Use them. That's why I put them in effect for all of you. Listen, folks, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream now. Thank all of you. I thank each and every one of you for all your support. Spread the word. Share the videos. Share the articles that I have on our website. Let the information flow out there and point it out to your friends and your family members. Bring them on board. Bring them into the awakening zone, as I say. And, every week, I have one or two close friends of mine that come out of the woodwork and they ask me about things that I'm posting on Facebook or Twitter. And they say that I see these things so often on your Facebook page. Now I'm interested. What's this all about? So that's that, folks. And I just put up a couple of new jerseys that people were asking for on our Planet X News online store. You got the chemtrail jerseys. Woo! Band geoengineering, baby. Everybody asks about these chemtrail shirts. Links in the description box. Order yourself one. I don't know. Dress your whole family in them. I wear mine every day. But anyways, folks, we know we got some wild weather coming up this week. We know we got some wild space weather coming up this week. We may have more outages. So just be prepared. Share the videos. Share, share, share. Like, share. Like, share. Anyways, folks, I'm going to get some rest. I got a long week ahead of me. You all be safe out there. And once again, thank you very much for all of your support right here at Planet X News. Take care, folks. Have a good night.